everybody, it's Erin Reed, and today we're going to make a fun card. This is an example, but we're going to kind of switch it up a little bit about what we're going to be doing. Very similar, but a little different, about using a stencil to help make a background on your card. First thing I do is I'm going to take a little bit of washi tape, and I have some pieces down here, but heck if I where that roll went from when I made my first piece, up and vanished. Take my white cardstock. This is and I was corrected once before, it's called Nina, and I said that wrong the first time because it's the way that it's spelled. It looks like it says Niha, but it's actually pronounced Nina, which is a city that's up on the Michigan, I think. Anyway, which is the brand of the company. They make their own paper. This paper has come from Scrapbook.com, and it's just a nice, bright, super bright white. So I'm taping that down with washi tape because that stuff rocks, and I'm going to take my stencil. And so the stencil is from Crafter's Workshop. I love it. This one's from Gabriel Polacco, and I believe it is called Crazy Waves. Don't you love it? I think that's just fantastic. So I'm going to take a little dauber. Again, I got this from scrapbook.com. Lots of little essentials, things like papers and daubers and stuff like that. They're great because they're really a low rate there. And I am going to do purple. I'm in a purple mood. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of purple, and I think the purple mood came because I started pulling out my Haunted Variety Pack from Renia, and I think purple kind of goes along with it. That color's not in there, so it's just like a little addition. So it's getting in my Halloween-y vibes, even though we're not close to Halloween yet, but my brain is already going there. I'm taking my dauber and I'm daubing it onto the darker of the purple, and then all I'm doing, oops, I forgot a step. I tape that side down. And got to tape the other side. The reason for taping both sides is that your stencil does not shift because we're applying the ink in a round fashion. I'm also using my hands too. So I am swirling the ink onto the stencil, and just so you can see, look at that. See? Isn't that cool? Hopefully my camera's not wiggling around too much. So all I'm doing is I'm swirling it on. Some areas I want to have light. Some areas I want to have dark. If I want dark, I can push more into my ink. It's a pigment-based ink, so it's got a little bit more room to groove. It's a little bit longer of a drying time, which I think is great, and it just allows this to work really well. If I want it darker, I push more. If I want lighter, I can push less. And obviously, if I don't re-ink, it'll be even lighter. So I like the fact that it kind of goes light and dark, and it's got some fun, different vibes to it. So I want it like really dark right here. And I'm going to lighten it up. You can even leave some sections that are a little bit more whitish. I'm just going to finish this up real fast. All right, before I completely move this all around, and I'm going to check to make sure I'm good. Now, I've got a section down here that's just got too much white, but I am going to trim this down, so I think it'll be okay. What I can do, though, is I can come in with like this section right here and kind of fill in, create my own little grade of something happening here. There, so just it kind of completes it. And then I can do the same thing for up here. I can add a little bit of some extra just right here, so it doesn't look so blank. See, just kind of finishing it off. And now I've completely encompassed this whole thing. So if you've got a stencil that doesn't quite fit, you can shift it around and kind of makeshift. And this is so, the lines are all over the place, it works just really well. So it's a fun design. It's so cool. And you can do that in any color you want. So that's one thing I love about like the paints or this paint box, color blocks. It's called paint boxes. It's got a nice big range. So I could have picked and done this in yellow. I could do this in blue and red and green. You can also do multiple colors. You can add different layers of colors. You don't have to make it all one single color. All right, I'm going to trim this down just a tiny bit. First, this cardstock is already set to be an A2 size card. So that's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I'm going to drop this down to be a 1/2 inch less. So this is going to end up being 3.75 by 5. So it originally was 5 1/2. I'm going to drop it down to 5. And there it is. I'm going to take my dauber and just along the edge, just to kind of clean it up, I'm going to ink the edges right here. It just kind of completes it. Gives it a finished look. And you could do that in a different color if you want, but I'm just finishing in that purple. And these are kind of fun if you ever wanted to keep something like this and do something else with these little fun strips. So this could be a mass-produced card if you wanted to do it that way too. So you would do all of the stenciling, and you could change up the colors, which is pretty fun. All right, the next stage is I'm going to pull out, and I'm going to change gears a little bit with this card. I'm not going to make it all purple, purple, purple. Instead, I'm going to pull out 2 sheets of the ebony in the Starstruck, and you get 2 sheets, so it works out perfectly. And it's already a 4x6, which I think is great. Now, if you remember, when I cut this down, I've made this a 5 by 3.5. So I want to go this a little bit bigger. So I'm going to go 5 1/4 by 4, which it's already there. So now I've created a beautiful mat. Look how gorgeous that is. It's just so stunning on that background there. And this is in the Starstruck texture, so it's got a little bit of like the star feeling. So now I'm going to take this Super Tight Dual Max glue pen, and I'm going to apply glue using the broad tip to the back side. Just get it on there. Card, I actually did another layer of white with white paper. This one, I'm not going to do that. I did the stencil piece. I did this time in purple foil. It's actually called lavender. And then I did a sheet of white that I inked the edge in purple. So again, I just took this and I went up a little bit more and then laid it on the card. I'm just deleting one layer on this card. I didn't feel like I absolutely needed it. Take my glue again. Get it all around. Make sure I kind of hit the edges. I'm not pushing, I'm just kind of smearing the glue around, which is perfect for this. And then laying this, and this is a pre-perforated card, which makes card making so much easier. And laying that down on there. And I think that contrast of a black with like a pastel color is so cool. I love that concept right there. Now, you can either leave your card going vertical or you can go horizontal. I think I'm going to go with the horizontal feeling again. And while that's kind of getting its drying on, I'm going to cut another sheet of the A2 size white paper, that Nina paper, and I'm going to cut it to be 1.5 inches by 3 inches. And this is going to be our title that we're going to add to this. So by 3 inches. I'm going to cut a second one. And this is the trick I'm going to show you, which is inking the edges. I'm going to go 1 3/4, a little bit wider, by 3 1/4. So just a little bit bigger. So it's creating that mat on the back. So here we can see it's just that little bit of a mat. And all I'm going to do with the bigger one now is take the edge, it already has the purple on here, and ink those edges. So it's just a little bit of a subtle of the purple, nice and faded. If you wanted this to be more dark, you could pull the purple out of here and you could ink directly on there. But I want a lighter look. I don't want it to be super stark. So that's where you can get that from. And now this mats onto there, just like that. And we're going to actually ink the top one, but I want to stamp it first before I ink the edge of that top one. The last thing I'm going to do is we're going to go a little bit bigger again with another sheet of the black cards, or the Starstruck paper from Renia. So 2 inches by 3.5. So this is a perfect little card set of the papers because they're already 4x6, so you don't have to cut a giant sheet of paper, which is fantastic. From here, I'm going to layer the first one, the first little bit of paper. And I could do this step last, but I'm being impatient and want to gluing sections together. And there's that beautiful black contrast. On the previous card, I did the same order I'm doing right now, but I did it less of a grade. I only went up by, the amount that I went up per piece of paper was less. And I also used that lavender color again. I'm going to pull out my scratchy pad here. And then what I'm going to do here is I already have from my Joy Claire stamp set. This one is called, I think it's called Thinking of You. No, Butterfly Kisses. I'm so sorry. I'm going to Butterfly Kisses. And I have on the back here, it says Thinking of You, and then I have a butterfly. First stage I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp the Thinking of You. So I'm going to take my ink, come in here. And since this is so small, I'm not going to worry about pulling up. I'm just using a stamp block. And I'm going to kind of center it. Maybe, yeah, I'm going to center it. If, you know, I'm going to off-center it. I have a hard time making up my mind sometimes. I'm going to off-center it. And there's a nice, good stamp. There it is. Again, if you like a stamp positioner, go for it. I'm just not feeling the need to pull it out right now. Now I'm going to come in and I'm going to add some butterflies. Give myself some room and just off center them. Come in, and this is why I'm putting a sheet of paper underneath, because I'm not getting full coverage. So I'm just coming in, little butterfly pieces here and there. So they're kind of coming off the page. Oops, there it goes. And maybe one more little tail coming off, just like that. And sometimes you can do a second generation stamp, little wing coming off of there. So they're not, it doesn't have to be super dark. See? So it looks like there's generations. So it's like you're creating your own background paper. Now come in with that little dauber again and just give it that fine hint of that purple edge again. So now we're tying in a little bit of that black ink because we've got the layers of black in the background. And it's just a little subtle hint of where everything is. Easy, right? And if you're curious, all the links for supplies are going to be down below so you guys can find where everything is. Okay, come in here. Where's my layers? See, I do, oh, there it is. I pushed it way off to the side. The other thing I like about being able to use a liquid glue is I didn't quite center this on here, and it's got a little bit more room to groove to make sure that everything is nice and even on here. Take my glue again, add my glue to the background, and heads up, all these glues from Super Tight are acid free. And there's a coupon code down below for you guys to get a % off, and I believe over $5 is free shipping. So you get 20% off and you get free shipping. That rocks. So check out all the links for all the supplies below, for the stencils, for the papers, for everything. All right, so there is that. So now I'm going to come in, and this is just going to go like this. But I want to pop it up, which is what I did on this card. I popped it up, and to give it that nice firm pop, it doesn't cost a lot of money. Cardboard to the rescue. So all you're going to do is you're going to take a little piece of cardboard, comes from a box. I mean, there's so many places. And if you don't like your cardboard super thick, you can kind of take your fingers and you kind of smash it, and it flattens it out a bit. Or you can leave it big. I mean, it's really kind of up to you. So I'm smashing mine down just a tiny bit because it's kind of thick. Add glue to my cardboard. Center it on the piece I want to pop up. This is so much cheaper than trying to get pop dots or some of the other fancy tapes that allow you to raise up, especially if you're just trying to elevate one object. And this is just so cheap. I love it. And then you take this and you layer it where you like. Ta-da. And it's still got quite a bit of elevation on that. I mean, that's one of the best little inventions for crafting is glue and cardboard. So same concept for a card. As you can tell, I went the opposite direction for the stencil. This one, the lines are going this way. This one, the lines are going this way. You could also change the orientation. You could take this and you could orientate it so it's facing this way. I kind of like this direction of a card, but again, it's different. Using the stencil as the main focus of the background, creating your own background paper in whatever color you like, which is fantastic. And then just fun little stamps and adding hints of other colors, either a lighter purple or a complementary similar color. Not complementary, a monotone, so same color family, like all the purples, or going completely contrast color, like adding the black in there. And you could even do a completely different color, add yellow or something like that in there, which would be wonderful. And super simple little cards that you can change the sentiment to be whatever you like. So thanks so much for stopping by. Don't forget to subscribe. The links are down below for all supplies, and I'll see you guys again later. Bye-bye.